everybody. I'm Vince Marino, and welcome to my Lunch and Learn, sponsored by Empowering Pumps. My special guests today are with Hydro Inc., Jim Aubrey and Robert McCowan. Jim, let's start with you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and then kick it over to Robert.
Yeah, hi. First off, appreciate you having us here today, Vince. Jim Aubrey, Vice President of Sales for Hydro Inc. Um, Known you guys at Empowering Pumps now for many years, known Charlie going way back. So just really quick, started out my career in engineering in the aftermarket pump space. And now I've been with Hydro for quite a while, supporting our sales team, supporting our customers out in the field. And yeah, just really happy to be here today, talk about kind of who we are at Hydro and also what we can offer on the IIoT condition monitoring front.
Beautiful. Robert, I understand you have some history in Florida and with the Navy.
I do. I started my career out in pursuits of naval aviation, and when I left the military back in 2014, I got my first job in Houston as an applications engineer, working actually in the compressed air industry, so very similar to pumps. And then, of course, natural progress of events took place in life, and I ended up in Dallas, Texas, married with a kid, and working in the pump industry. Specifically, I work for our condition monitoring program, Centaur. I've been here with Hydro now for 2 years.
So let's talk about that for a second. I mean, I hear condition monitoring quite a bit now. And for those who are watching that don't know what it is or have a misunderstanding as to what condition monitoring is, maybe you could explain it. But I'm just going to say this. My only real history of condition monitoring started back during COVID when everything hit the fan and people didn't want to go in. They wanted to monitor it. So they wanted to do remote condition monitoring. So that was the first real when it started to become really a big push for monitoring. But I'm sure it's existed before. So why don't you guys fill me in on the history of that? Where is it coming from?
Sure, yeah. COVID probably pushed things to a breaking point for a lot of different industries, along with making leaps and bounds in progress. But it really wasn't until technology was available for us to capture, like 5G speeds and broadband, high-speed data, longer battery lives. So making this technology more viable, more economical. Then COVID really pushed it further along. So, we're all trying to do a whole lot less with more, a lot more with less. We have people from different industries that are leaving the workforce, and that knowledge is going with them. So naturally, you have an amazing tool like condition monitoring, where you can put a sensor, a node out there, just about any spot that you would need to monitor without having the human intervention and the data capture that's cumbersome for an individual to do. Can all be done with a very simple tool that technology has enabled us to be effective at using.
Yeah, I think Vince, you hit on an interesting point, which is, what is the motivation for pursuing condition monitoring, especially remotely? What is the business case for it? There's many. Some of them could be a situation like you just described there with COVID, where it's impractical or it's unsafe for a person to physically enter a process facility and go ahead and take that data. It might be because there's a worldwide pandemic. It could be because the actual environment is unsafe when the plant is operating. It could be that some of these pumps are located so remotely. We have a lot of customers in the midstream oil and gas market that have remote pumping stations that are hundreds of miles apart, and they stretch from the oil sands in Canada down to southern Texas, right, where it's being refined. And so you look at, well, how do I capture that critical operating information across a wide stretch of land, and this is an excellent technology for that. You look at what we used to do back in the day was we would just take traditional routing, is what they call it, vibration routing. That's That's an individual going out with a handheld unit to the assets, the pumps, while they're operating in the field, and physically collecting that data. And as you can imagine, that's laborious and time consuming. And so, at best, those individuals can get around to those assets maybe once a week or once every other week or once a month. And they're taking snapshots in time of how that asset, how that pump is operating. This technology takes near continuous data, right? And so if there's any changes in the operating state of the plant, the system, traditional routing doesn't catch that. You'd have to be there at that moment when that process change is being made. Whereas this technology captures all the data continuously. And so you catch all of those changes in steady state and the things that are really affecting the health of the pumps.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you, what is
Go
this?
ahead.
What does it look like? I mean, give me an idea. If you have a screenshot or a website, what does it look like? That, okay, there we go. So you've got activity here from, these are data points.
So this, I got a slide pulled up here to kind of demonstrate how fast things can go from bad to good. So we're capturing each one of these lines at about 15 days, but if I show you this window, how things are moving, pretty normal. Maybe they're climbing up a little bit, but really this red box here to illustrate how fast things can go wrong in a plant. And if you're taking, like Jim had just mentioned, weekly or even monthly routes, you're never going to catch this. So as fast as that goes, we zoom in on that red box, and you'll see here that it only took 3 days from the time that we crossed that first level alarm threshold to a complete failure and shut down that machine. It happened all within a couple of hours. So it's one of those things where we see a lot of value, especially when we're deployed on critical assets that can shut down production, ruin batches, cause timely, costly repairs. We want to get this tool deployed on that as quickly as possible.
Excellent. So let me ask you another question. When you're out in the field and you're trying to, obviously educate the public and sell this product and service, can you guys give me a story as to you go to XYZ company, they're using some other brand to do some condition monitoring, and then you step in and reevaluate how they're doing things and readjust the way they're thinking, and they end up buying the product. And by the way, what is the actual condition monitoring named? What is the product called?
So we coined our system called Centaur. And a little history on the way we came up with that is we think it's the best parts of man and machine. A lot of companies out there are purely selling, a commodity, a technology, and I think more or less lack the understanding of how the operation of that piece of rotating equipment works. So for us, it was a bridge between taking the knowledge and the expertise of being pump experts and 53 years of doing it and combining it with the technology to offer kind of the best parts of the whole. And just to kind of share here another quick slide on the architecture, if you will, the overview of what Centaur looks like, or a condition monitoring program. I'll share this screen here. So kind of talk about, again, the architecture here of how the IoT system looks and how it goes together. I got this slide pulled up here where you can see how we have wireless and triaxial sensors, along with some pressure sensors and some submersible accelerometers. So these are our sensors on the left, and they're going to feed into a gateway device that's going to turn the signals into a cloud application. So all the data is going to flow through. We're going to get it to the cloud, either cellular, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, however is best preferential to the customer. And then monitor that data in real time, along with letting the software run its diagnostic and analytics to basically spit out what those alarms look like, to give you all of the necessary information to making a proper diagnosis on machine type failures and understanding how the equipment is in operation. So that architecture is very helpful in, I think, conceptualizing what a system would be comprised of.
And if I can jump in here, because Vince, you had asked us, if we're presenting this to a customer in the field, what is the differentiator that we discuss to, have that conversation with the customer about adopting Hydro Centaur versus any other IIoT product. And to me, it really comes down to in that image that Robert just shared there. It was in the very bottom right. It was the condition monitoring service that we provide and analysis. The whole left side of that architecture diagram is it's hardware, and in reality, most of that is at today's moment, it's all a commodity product. And anyone who's telling you differently is probably being dishonest, right? I mean, they're accelerometers, they're pressure sensors, they're temperature sensors. Those are all commodity products now. They're very high quality, they're very accurate. And there's a lot of systems out there that can monitor the data, and they can put it up on the cloud wirelessly. And a lot of companies have good software. And ours is, best in class, is really how we feel. But the differentiator, what makes us unique, is that hydro engineers are monitoring the data real time, live, 24/7, and looking at these assets as they're operating, whether it be at a nuclear power plant in the United States, or at an oil refinery in Oman, or a coal-fired power plant in Australia. We are monitoring these assets around the world real time, and anytime an issue arises.
That's pretty wow. I don't mean to interrupt you, Jim, but
Yeah,
I mean, that is that is pretty cool. So,
yeah,
so to differentiate, just to recap, the hardware is the hardware, and there's a lot of great hardware that's available, but you're differentiating yourself by saying that the secret sauce is really in our software and how we monitor it.
well, it's the software is very good, and of course there's AI powered analytics in there as well. But it's really the people behind it, right?
Yeah.
So the software is good, the hardware is a commodity product, but that data that we're monitoring around the world, that's feeding all back to our headquarters in Chicago. And we have a team of engineers looking at that data. And so when there's an issue, there's a live human being who is an expert, not only in vibration analysis, but they're also experts in pump design and pump theory, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
so when they need to diagnose what the root cause is of the issue, they're looking at it through the lens of a pump engineer. And they can immediately go from, hey, Mr. Customer, there's a problem, to, hey, Mr. Customer, there's a problem. This is the root cause, and this is the solution to your problem. So if you just have a basic monitoring package where you have the hardware and you have the software, you're going to get, there's a problem. You're not going to find out what the root cause is, and you're not going to find out, certainly not going to find out what the solution needs to be. So it's those latter two things that really differentiates us in the marketplace.
Yeah, and it gives some
amazing.
anecdotal.
Yeah. Please continue.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Just to add some anecdotal conversation to that. So when we talk about, we understand with how the pumps are how they operate, the principle of operation. It's really also the consequence of not doing a corrective action. So for example, the other day we had a customer having a high 6 times, which indicated to us it's a vein pass frequency that's creating this type of oscillation, this heavy vibration harmonics in the system. And it isn't just like, hey, red flag, you've got a problem, go fix it. It's, hey, you have a problem, and if you don't go fix it, we're looking at beating that seal up over time, and that seal face is going to get so worn down by the thrusting of this, you're going to lose that seal, which is then going to allow this to happen, and all the host of events to follow. So now they understand, they don't do something, what they should be expecting, how to repair it, what the repair cost could look like. I think all of that helps drive decisions at a level where when you've got 100 things to do, what's priority? And if you don't know and you just say, I've got a red flag, everything's got a red flag.
Yeah, but if you ignore it, if you ignore that sage advice from that engineer that's a rotating equipment specialist for 20 years, and he's talking to somebody in Oman about a pump that has gone awry. I mean, you could choose to ignore my sage advice, sir, but I'll see you in a week.
Right. It's like the dashboard on your car. You know, maybe you've got a check engine light, you got low tire pressure, but your gas is about to run out. Like, which one's more important right now? Well, if you're going down the road, you might want to put fuel in there. You might want to check your tire pressure. If you're sitting in your garage where you don't need to go anywhere, you don't need gas, maybe it's time to, you know, check the oil levels, check the, you know, the check ignition light and stuff. But that's what good decision making is about from our end when you take the data and coupled it with our expertise.
So seriously, you guys are literally all over the world doing this. I mean, right now there really are people in Oman and so forth.
Australia.
I think I'll steal. I think I don't know if it was someone in the Roman Empire. Maybe it was Caesar said it. So I'll say the sun never sets on the Hydro Empire. We've got condition monitoring sensors deployed around the world. So there's always something going on. Keeps the team very busy, of course, but yeah, it truly is a global network of data we're pulling in. And what's really fascinating about that is that, you know, we're constantly getting smarter. We do have AI powered software, and if anyone knows anything about AI, is that you need a vast amount of data that the system can learn from in order for that tool to become powerful, right? And so, you know, the more and more sensors we get deployed, the more and more runtime we have, the better and the better the system is actually getting at predicting, you know, vibration signatures that can lead to certain types of failures. So we can look at a vibration signature and say, oh, it's the bearing, or oh, it's a mechanical seal, or oh, it's main pass frequency, et cetera, et cetera. And it's only going to get smarter, and it's only going to get better as time progresses.
So let me ask you this: since you broached the AI topic, I mean, is it possible that still somebody's knowledge up here still can I don't know, supersede AI content right now? I mean, is there I mean, because there are certain things that you just have to be able to hear a sound, or I know what that sounds like, and I don't think AI is quite there yet. So
It's not. It's not there yet. You know, things in life seldom are a couple of variables in the equation, you know, especially when it comes to rotating equipment. No two plants operate the same. No two machines are exactly the same. No two processes are exactly the same. So it's a multi-variable equation when it comes to machine health. And that equation being so long that AI would need all of the input parameters to be very precise to kind of narrow down. I think that big data helps us kind of get there.
right.
But AI is not going to be able to tell that the process operator made a mistake and closed a valve too fast. It's going to say that an event happened, but what that input to that event was, you know, that unless they input the information, it's missing a piece. So we like to look at AI as the first pass, doing the heavy lifting for us, taking a cursory look at all of the different types of outliers and making a recommendation on what it thinks it might be, and then having someone with boots on the ground experience that knows how their pump works, along with, you know, our experts in the shop that can put their heads together and deliver a real, you know, evaluation of how a pump is performing or a piece of equipment is performing. Last thing we want to do is tell you guys, hey, you got a bent shaft, go pull it out and fix it. And you go do that work, and then it's not a bent shaft. Now you wasted time and resources, and, you know, we want to give the best advice up front.
So how does that work? I'm curious about the idea of having real experts out there that are kind of monitoring this feedback. Is it something where you take it in shifts, where you've got Bob on 8 to 5 and this guy over here takes the 5 to midnight? And I mean, how does that work? I mean, because
we'll dedicate a project engineer to plants. So it helps to build relationships and familiarity with processes and what people are doing. But we also, because we have service centers around the globe, we also were able to pick up those overtime shifts with other facilities everybody's connected at the same time via internet, which is helpful, but our Australia shop can take over looking at data if things were to pop and go bump in the middle of the night. So that helpful relationship between us having a global presence and always being able to have our eyes on our customers' best interest is something I would say that we do well with.
That's something to be extremely proud of. I mean, I'm floored. Again, I've heard of condition monitoring, heard of the cool parts. Sometimes they're glued on with epoxy, sometimes they're magnets. I mean, I've seen all that, but this actually takes it to a next level, which is why I like to do these type of educational videos. I mean, yeah, they're called Lunch and Learn, but the truth is, the whole reason why I do this is because years from now, somebody might just be searching on a search engine or searching in YouTube or looking on Empowering Pump's website for
See
a
my
problem.
face.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, or and passing down that tribal knowledge is what it's all about. So
Absolutely.
anyway, I've learned a lot so far. I'm sure you got some additional screenshots that you want to share. So I'm interested. So
Sure.
dig in. Let's dig in.
I'll dive in a little deeper here, kind of show you maybe the reason why we like to do this program, and then some really key strategies and pitfalls. So if you are taking on this type of program for yourself, for anyone out there, you kind of understand what to look out for. So one of the things I'll share here is it's a slide I like to use to illustrate kind of the benefits of taking on a program like this. So I pull this screen up so we can all see, maintenance strategies come in different forms. A lot of people can run to failure, and that's one way of running things. You're not wasting money on unnecessary maintenance and time. But then there are better strategies. And predictive maintenance, condition monitoring gives us a very economical entry point into achieving very high results. And so in this graph here, you can see that there's, doing planned maintenance, doing PM maintenance, doing maintenance based on intervals of time, and then predictive versus connective predictive maintenance, doing maintenance exactly when it's requested and being able to know exactly where to go to evaluate equipment. Makes this very efficient and very economical. So these are some of the best practices associated with each one of these levels that we work to achieve to gain the most benefit, the least amount of cost of its time or so and stuff. So there's one good decent slide I think that I like to use as an illustration to kind of forecast the benefits of taking on a program and being successful in deploying it. And then I have just a few more slides here that I would say, why do we do this? Why do we take on this kind of, problem with this technology? It's so we can ultimately stop firefighting, because we all have enough to do than just to put out fires. So the reason we like to do all that and be successful in maintenance strategies, implementing a condition monitoring program, is so we don't have to firefight. So we don't have to sit there and try to you got 10 fires to put out and you're going to put out 8 of them a day. So another thing we try to do by implementing a successful program is to maybe stop us from chasing our tail or spinning our wheels or hurting cats. So it's a tool designed to help us make a better system work for less people trying to do more.
Yeah, well, I certainly respect that. I mean, if you're condition monitoring and you're getting the sage advice of what to do, then you theoretically never will have a fire. You're preventing it from happening before. So.
Yeah, in theory, you're absolutely right. One caveat I like to make is, condition monitoring isn't going to fix all your problems. Problems are still going to happen, and hopefully we can get 99% ahead of 99% of them before they become major problems. Things are always going to break. Things are always going to fail. We want to try to be ahead of that. So that's the idea. But some people, for some reason, they think that this kind of system is going to solve every problem. It's not, but it's going to make you a lot better at managing them.
So presenting this to a prospective buyer, you're definitely doing some kind of a consultative approach, I would imagine. Somebody that's not familiar with your service or your pumps, for example, you're starting organically new. I would think that just an authentic conversation has to happen with what's your environment now, and how would you like to see things change, and see where that conversation kind of goes. I would imagine. I mean, Jim,
Well,
you're in sales.
I
Go
say
ahead.
I deal with it all day. That's my role. Jim has a unique perspective because he works a lot across the multiple divisions in our company, from pump repairs and engineering services, along condition monitoring. So I'll throw it to him to maybe shed some light on that.
Well, yeah, every conversation is different. Every customer needs different. Where they've been and where they're going is always different. So certain customers that you talk to, you go to their facility and they're already looking at this. Robert and I were just at a steel mill a couple of weeks ago, and they've been seriously looking at, diving in head first into the condition monitoring world. And so with them, the conversation isn't really about, well, what are the merits of condition monitoring? It's about, well, what can we provide within that space, and why are we the number one choice, right? And then you have other customers that are still doing routing, or maybe they're not doing anything, and you have to start that conversation about, well, what is your maintenance strategy? Is it reactive? Is it time based? And then you start to ask questions and find out where their pain lies. What are the pain points? And then you kind of let that conversation guide you to, what's the solution for them. Some customers have hardwired continuous monitoring on some of their assets, and in that case, it might not make sense to put wireless condition monitoring. So it's never with in the aftermarket business, with all these value-added engineered services, it's never a one-size-fits-all type solution. Every application's different, every customer's different. And so I've learned in my career, it's best to listen more than it is for me to speak. So those are kind of my thoughts on how you have that conversation. Of course, we feel really strongly that this wireless condition monitoring is the way of the future. And it's opening up the possibility of getting data we never thought we would get. You look at a vertical turbine pump, for example, and historically we've only looked at vibration on vertical turbine pumps above the base plate, and there's 30 or 40 feet of pump underneath the base plate, where all of the the business end of the pump is, where all of the magic is happening, and no one's ever gotten that data until recently. And so we've begun capturing that data in our test lab. That's a great visual right there. So historically, motor upper bearing, motor lower bearing, those were the points that were measured, and all of that beneath, SP2, SP1, and BA, that was never measured. And there's a whole lot of magic happening in the very bottom of that pump. That's where all of the hydraulics of the pump are.
Yeah, I want to pull this up real quick so people can get a good illustration of it. And like Jim said, the base plate hits the floor here, and the rest of this is, below grade. We weren't able to monitor this. Well, you're going to have a problem on this pump. It's going to start down here 90% of the time.
But how do you
Yeah.
attach the monitoring device down there? Okay, so now we're getting into the
Sure.
nitty-gritty here.
So
Yeah.
the filter up here. So yeah, you see here, we'll drill and tap, along with sometimes we'll actually use epoxy as well to secure this sensor to the bowl assembly or to the column pipe. And then, again, the point of that is, so by the time a problem happens down here, it's going to take enough rigorous vibration to make it up this pipe. By then, the problem's gotten way too bad. But now by measuring down here, we can catch that as soon as the incipient type of vibration becomes alive, which is giving us a whole lot more predictability. So yeah, we'll attach it like this. We'll run it up, the cable up the side, and then to a transmitter that then just turns a wireless into a gateway. And a finished product looks more like this. So we've got it in conduit, bolted, clamped on, and installed. That's here in our shop.
Okay, so that is an actual hydro pump too.
Yeah, that's a pump we've already done a repair and painted on. I think it's actually installed now at a site.
Wow. Wow. That's huge. So, and you can retrofit somebody else's pump too? I mean, if they have a,
Yeah, that's the idea is we don't, Hydro doesn't actually sell our own line of pumps. We're all about repairs and taking what is and making it better. So for us, monitoring is just another link in that chain of what we believe in our service.
yeah, I think I mentioned before we started recording, and if you indulge me for a minute, I'll just do a shameless plug, but the volume 18 of Empowering Pumps and Equipment was a full-blown story about your company. And I don't know, I think something about the nostalgic end of it just really captured me. So I'm going to flash that up on the screen real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this is again, volume 18, Empowering Pumps and Equipment's magazine, digital media magazine here. And you'll see a little bit more here, and then we go into the full story here, Hydra's
Yep.
vision on repairs and service for company. And I was just admiring the original office and location and all, and it's a great read. I just encourage people to jump on there and check it out. And also, you guys have been a great pump partner with us. We're going to partner hub and providing us with a lot of detail so you can find some additional information on that website too. But I just wanted
Yeah,
to, again, shameless plug, but you guys got some pretty cool things going on. Do you have any other cool screenshots or video or pictures of?
Yeah, absolutely. I have just a few more. Just to comment on what you said, the one thing that I like and I've always enjoyed about being here at Hydro so far is the fact that they're always continuously looking for ways to add to what we can offer. So, it started with repairs, it got into engineering services, it moved into reliability services. Centaur, our condition monitoring has been a new platform. They've gone into nuclear all overseas. So it's like an ever evolving, and it's fun to be part of a team that's always kind of trying new things and growing. And yeah, it's very alive. So
Yeah, I like it.
I like to just share with you a few quick pictures of some assets we've been on and a quick slide about the software, just so people get a visual of where that data goes.
Sure, I'd love to
Real
see
quick,
it. And
here's
this is what I love about this whole lunch and learn concept is this is a couple of guys just chatting, having a beer and tell us what you do at work. So
sharing with you a little bit about what we do on a daily life.
yeah, I love it. Okay, so this looks like
So, we put a sensor on a motor. We're in a steel mill.
Mhm.
And then here's a sensor out on an outboard bearing of a BB5 pump on a refinery. Here's an installation we did at a municipal water treatment plant. So these are all those vertical pumps where we have sensors up top on the motor and then down below. So just some cool like in the field pictures to share there.
So those are vertical turbine pumps on the right there that go down 35, 40 feet.
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
I got you. Interesting.
And I think I have just one more. I showed you that one, and then I'll show you here the software. This is pretty cool because this has been something in the works for a long time. We released this year, but just to kind of give a glance of where this data goes and what makes it so powerful. This is where I usually say this is where the rubber meets the road because you're collecting all the data, and as long as you got a good sensor and a good system that collects data, now it becomes what do I do with it? And like, how am I using that? And I would put our software up against anything that's out there. I mean, it is very user-friendly, very robust. And as you can see here, we'll put in a digital twin of the type of pump you have. You'll notice here we have the readings right on the screen. When you're on the software live, you can click into this. It'll take you to another screen. Everything's right here in front of you, like a dashboard would be. you get all your analytics, and then you can also from here navigate into the diagnostic analysis side where you'll do all your vibration analysis, root cause analysis. And it's a very powerful, very user-friendly software that makes, again, normal maintenance folks' lives a lot easier.
Wow, that is very cool. I love the, in the old days, it was just KPIs. You might just get a pie chart, or a graph. But to
Yeah.
actually have the digital twin with your points where the sensors are and actually drawing a line to the form, that is, yeah.
Yeah, you say KPIs, and still part of the culture is people get monthly paper reports, and it's like green to yellow to blue or whatever it may be. And people still ask us for that. And then they see the software and they're just amazed at like, this piece of paper is useless because it's 30 days old and it doesn't tell me much of anything. So
Oh, yeah.
it's funny because culture is changing.
Yeah, I remember when they had uh, a brand X company had like framed photos of KPIs down a wall. And, I'm like, that's great. How often you change them out? Every 30 days. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, geez, everything changes in 30 days.
Well,
Everything
the
changes
next,
daily.
and then the next evolution after that was, I remember walking into facilities and company XYZ has their KPIs up on a TV in the lobby, right? Now it's not on a TV in the lobby, it's on everybody's smartphone, right? And so you don't have to be at work at the office in the lobby to view it. It's all on the cloud and it's all accessible. It's at everyone's fingertips. And that really is what we've done with this IIoT service is put it up on the cloud and we have access to it. The customers have access to their own data as well. You find there's a lot of variation within the industry with regard to what resources a customer has internally versus which resources they want to utilize a partner like Hydro for. So they might have some very good rotating equipment engineers, some very good vibration analysts, and they might want to look at that data and draw their own conclusions themselves. Or they may be running very lean, which we're seeing quite often nowadays. Cost cutbacks. It's a couple operators and an admin in an office, and then you have this massive industrial plant that they're charged with operating, and they don't have those internal resources. So the ability to partner with Hydro and we can bring our resources to bear is very attractive for those type of situations. And of course, there's the middle ground as well, where we do a mix, but we're a flexible organization, and really every solution is custom tailored to the customer's needs. Like I said, it's not a one size fits all solution.
Something you said there, and maybe Vince, you've seen this from your side of the industry, but we see a lot more of the in-house expertise being an exodus and not coming back, and a whole lot more of companies relying on their partners, their vendors, their resources to do that work. So it's a lot less hiring that vibration group or that reliability manager, and a lot more partnerships. So I don't know if that's a manpower problem or it's become just more convenient or why the trend has swung back that direction. But a lot less plant folks, like Jim was saying, are actually at the plant.
Yeah, but I think the key word is partnership, or kind of a hand in glove relationship. And again, it comes back to really being authentic. I mean, it's an authentic relationship with people. It's the times have really changed. Bob Dylan is right. Times really have changed, and I do believe that as we continue to grow in our industries, we're starting to realize that maybe things did work pretty well in certain arenas, but and they were a little bit more staccato or stilted, or a little bit more regimented. But having an authentic, how's it going, man? And really somebody telling you how it is, and oh my God, we got to check the indicator out here. Something's going to happen. Having those kind of
Yeah.
real potential authentic relationship is the way I look at it. A real communication, not you know, not again something with true emotion and a
Yeah.
friendship. I mean, you can have a guy in Australia at midnight save your client in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, I'm blown away. I mean, I've seen, and I've done this a long time now, having people on, but this does sort of take it to a whole new level. And I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. I don't want to disarm you, but let me ask you, number one, what's the next trade show that you're going to be at where people can actually come and talk to you guys?
So yeah, we're going to be at the Turbo Show here in just a few weeks. I think it's August 20th. So here, I pulled it up on the screen for you. August 20th. This is from last year. We'll be at booth 2827. So come check us out. You know, we'll have the entire Centaur platform that we're talking about today there live. And of course, everybody else in this picture responsible for different parts of what we offer from a service provider.
Well,
Jim,
I myself will be there, so I'm looking forward to
oh,
actually
cool.
seeing it. Yeah, I mean, for the purpose of time, I understand your screenshot of the digital twin, and I get it. That was just a static screenshot, but I really would love to see this thing live. Will I be able to see something live? I mean,
We're gonna have a touch screen there where you can touch through it all.
that's pretty cool. I don't know.
And Vince, you're really gonna like what I have to tell you next, which is that
Okay.
this year we've decided to splurge, and we will have some beer tappers at our booth, and so you'll be able to come over around happy hour, have a nice refreshing beverage, and play with some condition monitoring software. It's going to be
Very
really
cool.
fun. You can dive into
Very
it,
nice.
get into the weeds.
My inner geek is really starting to show here, but I love this stuff. I really do. I mean, I hope you get that. It's for real. I do get kind of into these things and particularly when it's a great representation of like the digital twin example.
Yep.
That intrigues me. I like it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it live at the TPS show. I'll be there too. We're gonna have a booth as well, so maybe we can kind of
Oh
talk,
yeah,
and I would love to come over and have a beer. You're gonna have to text me
certainly.
when that is. So
Absolutely.
how can people that are watching this, if they're not able to go to the TPS show in Houston, Texas on August 20th, how can they get in touch with you other than that through your website, email? What do you guys prefer?
Yeah. I mean, email is usually best for a direct line, but you can always check us out at hydroinc.com. We pretty much post everything we have available on there at our different leaderboard sections, from industrial services, engineering, condition monitoring, so you name it, we're there.
Cool.
Email is always great. J Aubrey at hydroinc.com and R McCowan at hydroinc.com.
I'll be sure to copy that in the below on our
Perfect.
information.
Perfect. And you can always engage with me as well. I know Robert's on LinkedIn as well quite often. So LinkedIn's great. We have a phenomenal website. We're at quite a few trade shows. Most customers should know who their local hydro account manager is, salesperson as well. So you can always get a hold of us that way. We're certainly around. We've got a good presence, and but Robert and I, you can always reach out to us, and we'll help you out.
Well, how many employees do you have worldwide now?
We're kind of in the mid 500s. I think we're getting close to 600 at this point. So it's a phenomenal business. I'll put another plug in for your volume 18 of Empowering Pumps magazine. It is a phenomenal story. Please check it out on Empowering Pumps website. Founded in 1969 by Mr. George Harris, our fearless leader, who we unfortunately lost a couple years ago. But he was the father of this business, And he took something from very humble beginnings, a small storefront in Chicago, and turned it into the world leader in the aftermarket pump service arena.
Yeah.
And it's a family-owned business to this day. The employees, we are close to 600 strong, but it has that small family feel to it. It's really I've really enjoyed my time working here. It's been wonderful. And all of our employees will tell you the same. So
Yeah, let me flash this up on the screen, guys. I was looking as you were speaking, Jim. I was looking at the video or your website, which is just well done. Look at that.
and that is a tremendous credit to our graphics team. We have a phenomenal team of individuals who make these animations. Robert touched on some of our many value-added services that we have. One of which that he didn't touch on was our training options. And so we have, we call it our LMS, so our learning management system. That's an online-based portal that has a lot of those animations you just saw, and we go through things like basic hydraulics and vibration training and mechanical seals and bearing life, and you get quite frankly a much better educational experience than I ever received when I was getting my engineering degree many years ago.
Mhm.
Just looking at black and white 2D cross-sectional drawings was my experience with education in the pump industry. But we have those phenomenal graphics and things like that, and
Yeah.
it really helps people connect the concepts together when you can see things like that.
So, tell me a little bit more about the LMS, the learning management system. Is it a seat license? Do I get to just reach in and get educated on one particular topic and pay by the drink, so to speak? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have I think multiple different flavors of that. So the most common is you go on our website and you can find that, just navigating our website, going to training, and you can purchase a class. It'll be, choose your topic. You can see them. You can see what the syllabus is and what all the learning objectives are, and then you can purchase an individual class. You can work with us to come up with a solution for your entire business. If you say, hey, I've got 10 engineers in training and I want to put them through a 2-3 year engineering and training program, and I want to have not only our online LMS platform, but I also want to roll them through some hands-on in-person training. We offer those courses, and we offer a very advanced training tool called Impel, which is the leader of that business unit, Mr. Mike Mancini. He always likes to refer to it as YouTube on steroids. And so this is if you can imagine a digital maintenance manual showing you how to disassemble and reassemble a complex pump in 3D space that you can pause, rotate around. You can see the animations of the parts coming in and out together. You have a full digital 3-dimensional bill of materials. You can order parts from us directly on there if you need replacement parts. So we have that as well. And if a customer is so motivated and really buys into training of their employees and kind of that loss of institutional knowledge that we're all experiencing right now with having these very experienced seasoned professionals retiring and leaving that knowledge void. If you're bought into combating that and replacing that knowledge, you can come up with a robust training program using kind of all 3 of those pillars to really, you do the initial learning and then you reinforce it and you reinforce it and you reinforce it. And after a certain amount of time, you've got that knowledge back in your organization.
Yeah, and again, and this is not tooting my own horn, but this is sort of why I'm doing this, is that I want to feed that need to preserve some knowledge that's out there, products, concepts, what errors people made in the past and how they corrected them. I mean, these things are important, and especially when it comes to the pump industry, which I love. I mean, it's been a great ride. I've loved being involved with the pump industry, and I got to tell you guys, this has been a great, very authentic and spontaneous meeting with you guys. Jim, Aubrey, and Robert McCowan, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Everything you wanted to know about Hydro Inc. right here.
I would say thank you, Vince, for being a good facilitator and partner with us. You know, keeping us in the forefront of your mind and being able to have exposure with you guys. We love talking about pumps, of course. We love these interactions. Love seeing you guys at Turbo Show. You know, for us, I think at our core, we genuinely love to help and support and solve problems. So all three of us kind of puts us in the same basket then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really appreciate it, Vince, and looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks. And don't forget to tell Charlie we said hello. And we'll see her, I'm sure, in a few weeks as well. So
I will do that. She'll be there as well. All right, guys. Thanks again. If you like what you saw, please like and share and subscribe and do all that, all that YouTube stuff. But again, thank you very much to Hydro, and hope that you guys will continue to follow Lunch and Learn with Vince.